Traditionally, the way that people look inside the brain to see what parts of the brain are active during motor tasks is with functional MRI, and it uses techniques to measure the blood activity in your brain. The advantages of this technique is it actually lets you look into the brain in terms of the activity while you're doing mobile tasks, while you're walking, while you're running, while you're standing, moving around. And instead of monitoring the amount of blood that flows to the brain, this actually monitors the electrical activity that goes through the brain. That's a technique that's been around for a long time, but the types of signal processing that we're doing along with the new hardware allows us to do it while people walk and run instead of just sitting down.
Well, there's really three factors that converge to make mobile brain imaging a reality. And the first is the technology. The sensors that we're using are very small, and they're amplified right on the scalp before the brain signal goes along the wires to the data collection system. And that means the quality of the data we record is much higher. The second factor is the signal processing techniques that we are using. And the third factor was an emerging understanding of the need. We're really coming to understand that both clinically and scientifically, there is a need to image the brain during real-world tasks. And that motivated us to re-ask the question.
0.9 meters per second, which would just be a comfortable walking pace. Okay.
There are a lot of medical applications to this research for one, military applications, and also some entertainment applications. For the medical applications, there are many cases where you'd like to know what's going on into a patient's brain when they have movement disorders. For example, a Parkinson's patient can sometimes experience freezing gait. With this technique, we can actually look at the ongoing electrical activity in their brain during walking and start to analyze the different portions of the brain that are causing them to freeze up.
In a military context, there are really lots of applications, but the overriding theme is to develop systems that harness the capacity of the brain. Some examples of the way that we're going to start doing this is first to study soldier brain function in operational environments. And a second implication is the potential to monitor soldiers' cognitive state in real time in the field.
From an entertainment standpoint, it's not too far away. We could actually do this type of activity and use it to interface with video games. In the same way that you use a Wii to control a video game, you could also use brain activity to interface with that game and give the individual a new user experience.
There are several next steps which will be pursued in parallel both by teams here, by teams at the University of California, San Diego that we work with very closely, and by researchers at the Army Research Lab in Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland. And these projects will all be focused on studying the brain during more complex tasks, like, for example, walking over obstacles or following a path. And the objective is to gain a richer understanding of what the brain is doing during locomotion. Some other things that we'll be looking at are, for example, how physiological stressors, like, for example, fatigue or carrying a heavy load, affect cognitive performance during locomotion, and vice versa, how cognitive stressors, like being vigilant, affect physical performance during locomotion. The practical implication is that using this information, we may be able to better optimize an operational environment, a work environment, whether for a soldier or a civilian, to increase their performance.